Hello and welcome back to another video. As you can see, we have February's ScrawlrBox. If you don't know what ScrawlrBox is, it is a monthly art subscription box where you pay a subscription fee of £15. Postage and packaging can be extra outside of the UK, but in the UK it is free. And you receive a mixture of random art supplies and a prompt, and that prompt will be a word or a phrase that you use those art supplies to create a piece of artwork from. You also get a little sweet and a vinyl sticker in there that are themed for the box. Well, the sweet isn't, but the vinyl sticker is. You also get a Scrawler zine, which is a fairly recent thing within this last year, and a featured artist where you get a print of their artwork, and then it'll tell you a little bit about the artist on the back. And in the zine it will also have tips from the artist on how to use the supplies, as well as featured work from the previous the past, I think it's 2 months previous artworks from those box. So anyway, we will get inside this. It is very heavy. It arrived very quick after I received the dispatch notification, so I'm hoping that people outside of the UK also receive it quick, because I know that's been a bit of an issue at the moment, but hopefully that has also been rectified. So let's get into this. I'm really excited. So, oh, it's very purple. That's perfect. The month of February is my birthday month, and purple is my favourite colour, so this is very apt. Another thing to mention, I'll just bring the box back in, is that for every box you buy, one tree is planted, and I just think that's a great incentive to buy as well. So this is the Scrawler zine here. We will put that to one side though, so we don't spoil everything. And we have the featured artwork here. Very nice, a bit of cubism. In lovely colours actually. I hope those are the colours we get in whatever the supplies are. I like to guess what type of supplies it is from the art. It's kind of, I don't know, you could say this is a bit of watercolour or ink or something like that. Who knows? And then this is the featured artist, so just pause the video here if you'd like to read more. The featured artist is Julien Reynard from France. And then the socials are at the bottom here again. So there. So straight off the bat, oh, okay. So it is paint, well, I think. They've given us some acrylic paper, so that's an inkling as to what is in here. It is a ScrawlrBox exclusive small pads, so they tend to contact the suppliers, I think, and get a smaller size pad that has a limited amount of papers, but it's way cooler than just receiving the single leaves of paper. So that's that. And then let's get into here. Like I said, it's very heavy, so I'm very excited to see what's in here. Ah yes, another thing to mention is we didn't receive our sticker in the last box, so that's why there's two. So this is last month's sticker. They seem to have gotten a die cut. It's usually a bit thicker than this. And then we've got this sticker, which is a section of the featured artwork there. I find the sweet. Oh, I'm excited from what I'm seeing, but I don't want to look too much. Oh, it's here. So we have some popping candy. I love a bit of popping candy. I think it's a great little sweet to have. Strawberry flavour. Very nice. So I will move this to one side. So instantly, oh, I've been wanting to try these abstract matte acrylics for quite a while. So I have some Sennelier acrylic pouches that I use for my acrylic pouring, and they're amazingly thick. And I've noticed these matte ones and people using them quite a lot, and they're a soft body, not a heavy body. So I'm quite excited. And since the artist is in France, I've noticed they have given us the French flag in the colours, which is quite a nice little touch. So let's read a little bit about these. These are a high quality fine acrylic paint packaged in a flexible pouch. The flexible airtight pouches can be firmly resealed with the nozzle, which means paint stays wet and workable so that nothing goes to waste. Goes on about the pigment, etc. But I highly recommend, and I hope that paint companies and manufacturers, wow, I can't talk today, manufacturers start doing these pouches a little bit more. I just think they're way less waste. You get all the paint out. You're never going to let it dry out because of your paint tubes cracking, etc. Anyway, that is my rant about paint tubes. So I'm excited to try those. We'll swatch those in a moment. We have our obligatory pencil and paintbrush. So this is a Pro Art. I think we've received a Pro Art paintbrush before, in a size 6. That's very nice. I do apologise if any of my filming's off camera. It's a bit closer to my face than usual, so I'm tending to put things out a little bit further. And then we have the, oh, it's not just a pencil. See, we've had one of these Koh-i-Noor pencils before. It's a magic pencil. It's got 3 colours in, but it's quite a nice touch that they've made it the same French flag colours again. But I did find this last time I used it was a bit gimmicky, so we will see. It's kind of like a child's crayon really, but we will see. We might be able to get that to work nicely with what we're going to make. And then lastly, we have an acrylic paint marker in black. So your usual acrylic paint markers tend to be Uni Posca, so you don't see other brands as often. But this is a De La Rowney. How do you say that? Because I never know whether it's Rowney or Rowney. We'll have to pump that at some point. Oh, too far left. It looks interesting in there. Looks a bit bitty. I don't know if that's just the paint on the inside. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. So we will swatch those in a second, and as I swatch, I will read a little bit from the Scrawler zine. So I read through the Scrawler zine. I highly recommend doing that if you have bought yourself a box. There's a lot of tips, tricks. There's actually a little section about cubism, which is quite interesting. But the tips that I thought I would share and are a bit more important are things like the acrylic paint dries very quickly, and so they're saying just make sure you're using small amounts at a time. I did notice that myself. Although I'm used to using acrylics, I did find that these dried incredibly fast, so that's just a way to not waste your paint. They also are very mixable. I suggest making a colour chart and mixing colours. You saw in my swatching there that I tried a few variants of colours, and the artwork is just a massive array of mixed colours, all very different. So I recommend doing that. And just basically some other tips that they've said, make sure that you're washing your paintbrush regularly, etc., because they deteriorate if you don't do so, especially with a paint that dries very quickly. But anyway, I just thought I would share a few of those tips because they were quite interesting. Here is the final result. So as you can see, cubism isn't really something I am comfortable with doing, but as you saw, I kind of mapped out some lines. I did a lot of crossing lines, a few circles, etc., and my goal was to create my cat Freddy. So as you can see, he's got his 2 eyes here, he's got his ears here, his little white chin, and then the circle kind of denoting his form. And then what I did at a later date was just do a really washed out pink kind of as a shadow, a drop shadow around his shape. But upon looking at the featured artist, I don't think this is done with these supplies. He might have taken the colour, but I think this is done digitally, to be honest, because there's kind of drop shadows here. There's a really nice gradient on some of it. I mean, it could be done traditionally, and I'm just not capable myself. But from my point of view, I don't think it is, because especially with these paints, it is very difficult to get a really solid colour. Because they are matte, you see every single brush stroke. So at first I was mixing colours. I was mixing a dark colour and then adding white and doing a couple of squares, and then adding a couple more whites and doing some more squares, etc. But by doing that, I obviously didn't have the same colour in large quantities, so I was doing it as washes and then realising that you could see all my brush strokes. So you'd see me in this video just trying to mimic that colour again and going over it and over it and over it, trying to get rid of those brush strokes and get rid of the white paper behind it. But it was just actually really, really difficult to get that down. Even where I did have thick colour like this, I don't know if you can pick that up on camera, but there are brush strokes in there. It was just very difficult to get rid of them. However, these paints are lovely to use. They mix really well. You get a really, really vast array of colours on there, and I just think that I'm going to play with them further, I think, and make something more in my style. Equally, whatever the words are, the black pen, it was really nice and it went over everything really well. However, if you look at the reference artist, the featured artist, you can see thin black lines, and you cannot achieve that. I really tried my best, and you can't achieve that at all. So I don't think that's the same pen, but it works well. The supplies work well together. Like I said, this is very gimmicky. I just don't understand it. I used it to sketch out the lines and kind of show where I wanted the shapes to be from my initial lines, and I've kind of used it just to do a couple of double lines and bring some other colours in there, but I just don't see where I would use this in any of my other art, to be honest. So it's probably going to sit in the drawer like the other one we received in a previous ScrawlrBox. But the rest of the supplies I really like. These paints I will use. Again, they spread really far, like it feels like I barely used any of them, and believe me, my palette is absolutely covered in them, and they're very nice. Again, this paper, I've never really been a fan of the kind of mock canvas. I just don't see the point. You can get really good canvas paper out there that is actual canvas, and that works just as well. So not been my favourite paper either, but I know it sounds like I'm complaining a lot, but I actually really enjoyed the box, and I like the outcome. I think it's different, and probably won't try it again, but I do like the outcome. I do like it. Anyway, I'm going to stop there. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, please hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I'll see you in my next video.